Now I'm going to invite Mike from Smart Meters UK to come up and educate us all on smart meters. So can everybody give Mike a massive round of applause? Come on up, Mike.
Thank you very much. Good evening. I feel like I need to crack some gags before I start, actually, but I won't. So what would you like to know? Open floor. Who's got the first question?
What are smart meters?
Okay, what a good question. Smart meters, as far as the energy and utility firms go, are the next generation in measuring and charging for your energy and water use. They talk about upgrade, they talk about a revolution in home energy management, they talk about modernisation, and they talk in these terms with serene music and a lovely warm feeling. What they don't talk about is chronic health effects. They don't talk about a gross invasion in your privacy. They don't talk about the threats that these devices represent to our safety at home. They don't talk about the threats they represent to grid security, and they never mention profits. They never mention institutional shareholders, which is really what this programme is about. Given I've only got 10 minutes to speak, or maybe 7 or 8 now, I maybe want to talk about one of the most important elements of this to me, which is the health effects. And I want to address some fallacies as well, some common fallacies that I hear that you guys can maybe take to people that you talk to about this issue as well. A lot of people will say, well, fundamentally what smart meters do is communicate they measure, they monitor, they communicate your energy and water usage, and they communicate that information back to the energy and water companies, in some cases in near real time. So they do this using a combination of transponders that sit in the smart meter. One transponder works over Wi-Fi and it talks with your home appliances, any smart appliances that you have. Irrespective of whether you have them, this Wi-Fi transponder is constantly transmitting. And then a second transponder communicates via cell phone signals back to the local cell tower. Some of the energy companies will try to convince you that the information's only collected or sent once a day. What they don't talk about is the fact that these devices are constantly emitting radiation. A court document that we obtained from proceedings in California showed that one energy company was talking about transmissions happening 6 times a day, whereas the reality showed they were transmitting information and signals to do things like network management 190,000 times a day. I've personally measured a British Gas smart meter that was transmitting 43,200 pulses a day. So if you have one or more, if you have 2, 3, then double or treble that number. And if you live in an apartment where there's a bank of these meters, then potentially you're being deluged with these information-carrying microwaves. Why are these things a problem? Well, if you take what some of the people at the Health Protection Agency or Public Ill Health England, as it now is, Public Health England, they will say, well, the time that's taken to actually send these signals or send this data is very small. And if you were to take all of those pulses and sandwich them all together, then the total duration of these pulses is actually quite small. But the argument is similar to saying that a candle emits more light than a strobe light. It might technically be true, but our eyes and our brain would not be comfortable living in an environment with constant strobing of these lights. So these strobing effects of the information-carrying microwaves give our body and our biology no chance to respond and deal with them. And they're happening constantly as well, right through the night. It's known that microwaves interfere with melatonin production in our brain. That's what helps us to sleep at night. It's what helps our body to repair any damage that's been done during the day. And melatonin is so important to us. It's a known oncostatic agent. It has an incredibly important role to play in maintaining homeostasis within the body. And it's a cancer suppressant. It's a free radical scavenger. So it's a good thing, and we need lots of it at night. This is one reason why night shift working is regarded as a Class A carcinogen by the World Health Organization, because if you're working at night, you've constantly got light hitting you, and light suppresses melatonin. Well, microwaves suppress it as well. So if there's one takeaway that you have, if you have Wi-Fi router at home, DECT cordless phone, make sure you switch it off at night. That's the most important thing. If you can't do anything else, just make sure you switch them off at night. But a lot of people will say, well, we're surrounded by microwaves. We've been surrounded by them since the Big Bang, and we can't get away from them. That's absolutely not true. The first thing is that any distance you can put between yourself and the source of the emission will make a huge difference. I recently saw evidence that a wireless baby monitor can expose a baby, if it's just a few feet away, to more microwave radiation than a cell tower can within 50 yards of the baby's crib. So the fact that these things might be smaller doesn't mean that you're getting less exposure than much bigger sources of these emissions that are further away. The Public Health England will say that the safe amount of exposure, the level at which thermal effects only start to kick in, is at 9 million microwatts per square metre. And I don't want to get technical here. I want to draw a comparison out for you of just how much of this radiation we're being exposed to now, or can be exposed to. So you're allowed to have a device next to your ear, microwaving your brain, i.e. your cell phone, that emits and exposes you to 9 million microwatts per square metre. The natural background radiation that we're exposed to microwave-wise is 900 quadrillion times less than that. So if you were to regard the natural level of background microwave radiation as the length of or the width of a piano keyboard, which is 1.5 meters, the amount of artificial microwave radiation that Public Health England says that we are allowed to put next to our brain is the equivalent distance of from here to the sun and back 4.5 million times. That's what they say is safe. There is a crime in progress, effectively, but what we can all do is take ourselves away from these sources of microwaves. Stopping smart meters is one thing, getting rid or minimising your use of these other wireless technologies is another. They're meaningful steps that you can take. As far as other problems go, we can all see that there is just increasing encroachment on our privacy at home. The fact that this agenda is looking at web enabling our entire domestic energy supply and putting it online. If your energy company is able to disconnect you remotely because they're attached to that smart meter over the web, anybody with the right technical knowledge can do the same. And we've shown that smart meters can be remotely hacked into, and not only can they show an incredible level of detail about what you're up to at home, including what you're watching on television, whether it's a smart TV or not, using the power consumption profile of your TV, these things can be disconnected. And so what we have is a reckless program that is looking at putting our energy and water supplies online. And my personal concern in all of that is that the inevitable it will happen, and it will be used as an excuse to further clamp down on the freedom that we have on the internet currently. So in my mind, and one of the reasons why I set up this program is that we all know, and we'll see tonight, that there are many problems that we face today. You know, the game is well and truly on in so many different respects. This, though, is something that I feel we can all do something about. You don't necessarily need to tell people about all of your feelings associated with this program, or even necessarily communicate all of the dangers and the implications to them. if you can get a leaflet in somebody's hand that are freely available on our website, then if they're prepared to spend 30 seconds reading about it, they'll realise that, well, if they're not concerned about the health implications or the privacy implications, they might be concerned about the fact that a study in Toronto showed that after smart meters are installed, bills go up in 80% of cases, often by more than 50%. So there isn't a corporation out there that I know of that would knowingly install a profit-losing piece of technology into people's homes. It's corporations that are behind this. They've very successfully lobbied governments and the EU to introduce them under government mandate, but it's corporations that are driving this. And in my mind, this is the next phase in consumer exploitation. So we all have the right to refuse them. Take a stand, and please help to wake up your neighbours and your friends. Our website, stopsmartmeters.org.uk. Thank you so much for coming and for listening.